Alright, so you and your group of 3 friends don't like this other group of 3 friends. Now, your group has 4 people and their group has 3 people. But let's take you out of the equation and then you just have 3 people that don't like another group of 3 people. If you want to think about how fragile friendships are, just think of it this way. If you would have met the group that you hated first instead of the other group, all you would have heard are all the negative attributes of the group you're in now. So these groups of 3 people only talk about the other group's worst attributes, their worst personality traits, the worst things they've done or said, and the same goes for the other group, only in reverse. If you would have met group number 2, the one that you originally hated, if you would have met them first, you would have heard all the bad things about group 1, the group that you were in at the beginning of this analogy. Let's say you have neighbors, a husband and wife, and they're fighting all the time, okay? And let's say you meet the wife first, and you hear all the things that she doesn't like about her husband. Or let's say you met the husband first, you hear all the things he doesn't like about his wife. And what's probably happening, and you can pretty much say this about any 2 people or group of people that hate the other group, they stretch the truth and they make them out to be way worse than they are. So whoever you meet is going to try to give you a really negative, dirty pretense on the other person. So if you meet the wife, wow, your husband is terrible. You meet the husband, wow, your wife is terrible. You meet that one group of 3 people, wow, those other guys are horrible. You meet the other 3 people, wow, those other guys are horrible. And they will tell you stories, and that's all you'll get from these kind of people. But here's the sucky part. You're this kind of person as well. Usually, we all do this from time to time with person to person. We put our foot down and say that person sucks or those people suck no matter what. And it's very likely that when you meet people, you're going to try to convince them that the person you hate is really worth hating. Sometimes your group of friends will falsify information or stretch the truth just a little bit to make the other group way worse. As a kid, I always heard stuff like, oh, he said this one thing, and it sounds kind of normal, but the way he said it was terrible. So that time that she was talking to me, yeah, you should have seen the look that she gave me. It was just nasty. And it's like, this is what was happening, but then there was a look, then there was a tone, but then there was this other thing that made them worse. And if you don't know the person they're talking about, you get this kind of false pretense. People will tell you stories of how heroic they've been, how victorious they've been, how victimized they've been, but very rarely will you hear, oh, yeah, there was a misunderstanding and I don't know, I just don't get along with that person, or, oh, you know, I fucked up this one time, they won't talk to me, we haven't really been on good terms since. You don't normally hear those kind of stories. If you do, you have found yourself a very mature person, probably much more mature than I am. I spent a lot of my younger years convincing people how bad the people around me were. Oh, you think that's bad? You gotta hear this thing that my one friend said. Oh, you think that's bad? You gotta hear what this person said about this person. Oh, boom, you're talking about gossip. It's not really gossip. What it is setting a false pretense so that your frustrations towards something are validated. It's why people will go out of their way to convince you how bad a video game is. Now, convincing somebody that you're right about something isn't always negative. Contrary to popular belief, having an opinion, being biased, and trying to show people that isn't always inherently bad. But it is interesting how a lot of our alliances, our friendships, our relationships are born just from who we met first out of a group of people. Who we had the first conversation with, who we put in the most time with. And a lot of times you'll dislike somebody or have a negative connotation towards somebody just because you heard the most stories about them. And even if the person gives you a 99% true story, it's still not all the way true, and a lot of it still comes down to your speculation on the person's story. So what I would always encourage people to do is look at both people, talk to both people, get to know both people, and don't show any alliance, allegiance, or some sort of unbreakable loyalty. When you deal with relationships, you have to be like a good reporter and have your loyalty be to the truth and to what actually happened, so people can learn and grow and get along. Now, if somebody's fucked you over, if somebody offends you, if somebody's done something to you, yeah, revel in that. Be like, no, I don't like that person. Make that clear to people. I don't like that person. I will not talk to that person. I will not be friends with that person. But watch out when you start getting told things you want to hear about a certain person. When the actual event that transpired long ago, and then it's just stories, it's speculation, it's thoughts. Oh, I bet this person's doing this. Oh, I heard this one time that this guy that I didn't like all these years ago is now doing this. Isn't that terrible? Stories are just that. They're stories. A lot of times we hear something from our friends and we take it as information to learn from and not a story that they're telling us. Not a stretched truth. I'm not saying all your friends are liars. I'm saying we all do this. And I hope, and I really do hope, that this video doesn't make you paranoid. What I hope this does is help you appreciate how fragile relationships are and help you to see both sides of a situation. Maybe you can be the deciding factor. Maybe you can be the one that gets in the middle of two groups or two people and says, we have to hear both sides. I hope what I've told you here today improves your life in some way, makes you think about something, or at least gives you something to talk about. I've thought about this video topic for a long time, trying to find the right words to put to it. So in summary, a lot of the times you'll dislike a person or a group of people because of who you met first and what you heard first. You can meet a totally nice person, but under a bad pretense, oh my god. The way they eat those crackers, the way they breathe, the way they interrupted me that one time. A lot of times you step back and open your mind a little bit. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it didn't make sense, let me know in the comment section below. I'm trying to get better with more complicated topics. If this is considered complicated, I guess it is to me. And if you didn't enjoy this video, leave a dislike, tell me why, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye!